What's up, guys? This is Jake Reviews, and behind me is a beautiful blue 2018 Mini Cooper S. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, so if it's a why is it a Cooper? Is that all Minis the same? No, they're not. This is when you think of a Mini, you probably think of this. So here's a little bit of a backstory of why the hell there's so many Minis and what makes them different. So originally what a Mini was back in, I want to say 50s, 60s, everyone was having these big beefy cars, and they were big in gas mileage and a lot of little space, and people were like, you know what, we need something that's better gas mileage because, you know, petrol is so expensive. So a company called British Motors Corporation, don't be confused with American Motors Corporation, completely separate companies. Don't know why they named themselves like that, but that's just what they are. Funny thing is, actually, it's actually a combination of two companies, but that's a story for another day. Alright, and then they're like, you know what? I got a new idea. Let's take the engine and put it sideways. Now, you may ask yourself, didn't Japan do that? Yes, but in Britain, they didn't have, the only thing you could get was MCs, Morgans, and stuff like that. So this was the first time in Europe, specifically, not sure, specifically Great Britain, but first time there that they were like, they put the engine sideways. Now what did that do? It made it more compact engine, that means less space for the engine department, which means more space for you. So why is it called a Mini? Well, obviously it looks tiny, but what it's ironic about a Mini when you get inside it, which we'll see, is that it's very open up and lots of space because of that sideways engine. And that's why all cars nowadays try their best to make it sideways or something like that. That way it makes it much smaller. Now, the Mini Cooper was the first Mini ever to be made. This is what this is. And you have different gens, all the way from the Wilson one all the way up to now. Now you have to think to yourself, you're like, what? Does it have a cool gen name? Yes and no. All the gens are based off of BMW. So anything that's in this is pretty much BMW. Same. And everyone just goes, wait. I thought it was on about BMC. Well, back in the 90s, BMC wasn't doing so good because, well, these things were unreliable. Yes, they're good cars, but it's a British car. They're less reliable than, you know, a Toyota. So they're like, you know what? Let's just sell the company to BMW. Let's let them have it. So BMW bought it back in the 90s. They're like, okay, we can't have you have these unreliable Rover engines. Let's give you some of our engines and make them more reliable. So that's what they did, and they've been doing it ever since. So whenever BMW comes out with a new Cheer series or something like that, just now there's probably gonna be a new Mini series. That's just kind of what they do. And that's why the first generation Mini owned by BMW had supercharged engines, and this one has a turbo because, like I said, BMW, they change things around. Whenever BMW changes something, Mini has to change something. It's just what you do. Now, this is the R55 engine, right?
B48.
B48 engine, and it's on the gen of F55, I think it's what it's called. Do not confuse that with any other gens. Before it was called R, which don't confuse that with GTR, completely separate car. But like I said, the reason why they changed because it's stupid BMW. Now, this ain't a normal car. This may look like normal itself, but the owner's gonna go around and we're gonna look at some cool mods. Now, I'm sorry for all this shit. I normally try to keep these very short, but there was a lot of stuff I had to cover for this car. Alright guys, I'm gonna quit talking. Let's do a walk around. Alright, here's the wonderful owner. If you haven't heard of Cartel, he is the backbone cameraman. So if I do something wrong, he's gonna let me know right away because he's the expert of all cameras. He has all the Red cameras, all the GoPros, anything you could have. Yeah, he's rich, and he owns this a real expensive. I'm just kidding. So let's talk about what we've done to this beautiful car.
Well, let's see. The first things we did to it was a NM cold air intake, just, you know, standard modification. After that, I decided I wanted to change the sound of the bike, change the sound of it, so I put a boiler exhaust and a catless downpipe. So no cats all the way back, beautiful sound, has a nice deep roar to it. coming out of that twin scroll turbo. Other modifications, we took just about all the chrome off. I still have a little bit left to take off, but all the chrome, blacked it out, black badges, make everything look really pretty, and Bilston coilovers with Eibach lowering springs.
It's a lot of cool stuff.
Brought it down a good 1.5 inches, made it look good. And then I contacted some tuners out of London to try to see if I can get some more power out of this little thing, and they were able to pump me up to 300 horsepower.
Jesus, and this car is still a Mini, which
Yes.
and it weighs like what, like less than 2 to 3.
The exact weight was 3,000 pounds.
So she gained a little bit of weight over
She gained a little bit of weight, but she's still quite quick. With the wide wheelbase, she handles like a go-kart, no problems.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I like about it, it's a modern look, but they didn't change too much. You know what I mean? It's kind of like how a Jeep, you don't change too much of something that works. It's a nostalgic look. You don't change it.
Yep.
Otherwise, nobody's gonna buy them. But yeah, lovely. And if you didn't know, the S model means you get extra more horsepower and a bunch of other things.
The difference between the base model and the S model is in the base model you get a 3-cylinder motor.
Yeah.
It's still twin scroll turbo, and they're making about 140 maybe horsepower. The S model bumps that up to a 4-cylinder 2.0 liter, and you get 189 stock. Now from there, the JCW starts adding in more goodies, a lightweight crankshaft, more aggressive cams, and you can get up to 200 to 300 horsepower out of a stock motor from the factory. But these motors come with lots of tunability. It's the same motor in the 338i, I believe.
That's crazy.
So there's so much power potential. You just got to work with it.
I remember when I drove an M Sport 335i, and he did so much crap to it. It's just amazing of what BMW engines are, and now they're in Minis. So pretty much what BMW did was turn a Mini from a very slow car to a track demon, pretty much.
Pretty much. They will eat track like nobody's business, and I've taken it up to the mountains a few times. Never lost traction. It handles the roads.
It's a Mini. It's one thing I like about Minis. They're such really cool cars. Now, one thing I like it when owners do this, but I'm glad you didn't change the wheels. They're nice set, and to me, with this kind of a car, you don't want to change too much of the appearance, because it's a pretty car. Sure. And you don't want to change the formula. Whereas other cars, it makes sense to change that, because that's just what you do. Like Japan, Korean, it's just what you do. With British, you kind of don't want to do that. And I love these racing stripes and number. What does that 83 mean?
It really doesn't have any kind of meaning right now. It kind of came with the car. I will be switching them out to something that does mean more meaning to me, but I'm still deciding on that.
Love the racing stripes. I'm curious when you go to a track and they're like, well, what number you want me? Can I be 83 since it's already on my car?
It makes it a lot easier.
That's nice. Love these taillights. One thing that's cool about the new ones, is you can get the taillights, the British flag, and I thought that was cool.
Correct. And I can actually purchase those taillights. They're the pre-LCI. They changed the body style just ever so slightly and halfway through the year, and added some creature comfort stuff, things that look pretty. So you can purchase those and put them onto the car. That may be a future upgrade, may not be.
Love the exhaust. You got the Borla exhaust. Look how big they are compared to the size of this car. They're huge.
The original exhaust, it's a straight pass exhaust. It comes straight out of the motor, right down the middle of the car, and then comes into the two tips on the end. The original exhaust tips were only about an inch and a half wide on each side, so needed to fill that space up some, so the Borla exhaust definitely helped that out.
Yeah, it looks so out of place. It's such a cool design. Like, it's such a huge thing on a tiny little car.
It's one of the first things a lot of people notice is like, those are huge cans on the back of that. It's really gives her a deep throat, and she sounds really good.
Yeah, I heard you coming. That nice pops they make. Signature BMW engines make a pop, and it's just incredible. All right, we were Going over the trunk, look at this beautiful blacked out mini badge. Now, is that just a mini badge ripped off, or did you black it?
That mini badge is actually the brand new 2020 mini badge. I replaced them. The original ones were all chrome and they were filled in the wing areas. The new ones, they took away the fill-ins, and I think it looks a lot better this way.
Yeah, I like it better. It's like just all that chrome. It's just, I like chrome, but what do you want? Your entire car to be reflecting other cars?
Yeah, it's not my forte either.
There we go. Not bad. Not a lot of space with the, I'm glad you put the seats down if you're not using them. Not a lot of space, but it's a Mini. You're not expecting to have a lot of space. This is perfect enough for me. I drive a Corolla and it has so much space, and I'm like, I'm never gonna use this much space. This is like the ideal college commuter, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
And I love how that too much space. And like I said, he's the camera guy of Cartel, the big guy. He's got GoPros, everything red, you name it, he's got it. He modifies them, puts a big twice the amount of stuff. I'm just kidding, he doesn't do any of that. All right, you close it, you press the button, and it automatically goes down. Look at that! Look at that, automatically goes down. I'm just kidding, that was my hand. All right, let's check out the engine. It's a 1.8 liter Rover engine making 1,000,000 horsepower. And where the heck is the...
Pull it twice.
There we go. Just like a BMW. Look at that beautiful BMW engine. Hide the badge. This is the B48.
B48 motor.
B448 motor, making them 300 horsepower. It's not big. It's not the...
It's really not that big. You pull off the front fascia and you get a truer idea of the size of the motor. It's not a big motor at all, but a lot of power can come out of this thing.
Yeah, it's crazy what these little things can do. And twin scroll turbo, it's crazy. And I believe that's just one turbo, not two.
It is a single turbo, but what it does is it has two different size impellers on it. So the exhaust feeds the smaller impeller to get the turbo spinning a little sooner, so you don't have as much lag. Once the smaller impeller gets spinning, the larger one will take over, and that's where your power comes from.
That's nice. Another thing we gotta talk about. Now, normally when you lift up a hood, it doesn't have holes. That is because of the federal regulation to where you can't have moving headlights. So what Mini had to do was integrate that, and I believe in Europe it's not that way. And
in the F-Series models, the headlights are still attached to the body. In the R-Series models, they were attached to the hood.
Yeah.
And because of U.S. federal regulations and BMW wanting to move the car to other markets, they had to change that design. And it's for the better, because having your lights come way up here when you're working on the car, you have wires and stuff.
Yeah, it's just better to leave it there. All right, we'll close this engine. Not too hot. I don't like cars that get so hot that it burns your hand when you touch the engine. Crap, not a lot of space. Which one?
Yep.
There we go. Ooh, oh. To start this car, to
start this car, you put your foot on the brake pedal.
Okay.
And hit the red switch in the middle.
Oh, that's cool. Come on in here. Wow, very, very different from any other brand. Wow, this is... Wow, it shows how long I haven't been in a Mini.
So there's a lot of fun features in the car. Mine's modified to when I first started. It's always in sport mode, but you do have the selection between mid mode, green mode, and sport mode. When you do go into sport mode, you get the fun little thing that pops up, shows your active horsepower and torque, but I tend to max those out when you go full throttle.
That's nice. I like this little bar right here that's constantly glowing. Is that stock, or did you? That
is stock. You have LED lighting accents here and in the doors and underneath.
That is so cool. It's like an RGB lighting for your computer, except your computer's in the car. So
correct.
You got your brushed aluminum, all real, I assume.
This isn't, it's not completely aluminum. There is plastic underneath it, but it is covered.
That's nice. And you got some nice leather, some nice touches. One thing I find different about just minis in general, everything about the car is completely different from anything else. Like, nothing is like, they don't copy anybody. They're their own thing.
Definitely.
And the only thing that's the same is it's the little buttons, and that's because it's BMW. Here's your BMW thing. You float it around. You can touch. You can like draw numbers on it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So if I needed to try to make a phone call when I'm going down, I can go into the menu, keyword search, and just start writing on it, and it will pick up my writing.
To me, it's one of the best things you can get. One of the best things that ever come out of BMW is that. You never say, oh, iDrive's terrible. Well, as long as you get a fairly new one with fairly good 9 miles, it's not that bad. Now, this is iDrive.
Correct.
Which is, I know in the older ones, iDrive was pretty crap when it went, you know, hit the curb. But luckily, this is not an older one. This is a current one, so nothing should have problems.
Mm-hmm.
You got your nice moon roof, sunroof, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a roof that moves.
There's actually, the sunroof is on the front, and then there's a moonroof in the rear.
That's nice. Oh, I love how, such a pretty car. Let's see. Anything else we need to go over? Anything?
No, I don't think so.
All right, let's head mount out. All right. One thing I like about this car already is even though it's a tiny car, it's a lot of space in this interior. Like when I get in a sedan or like a Corolla, you put it right there.
Mm-hmm.
When I get a Corolla or something, my head, I'm so tall, my head hits the roof constantly. This car, I have plenty of room. It's like,
and if the seat gets a little too high, there is a lever on the side that will lower it down.
That's even crazy.
So like, my father-in-law is a little bit beyond 6 foot tall, and he's able to sit inside one of these no problem.
Yeah, I'm 6'2", and I feel like I'm in an SUV that's lower to the ground. It's a weird concept. And this thing, wow, this thing got a lot. Oh, I love pops. I don't expect that from this kind of a car.
A lot of people don't.
This is supposed to me, this thing is drive. It looks like you're kind of like a beach, kind of like a girl's beach car.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't drive like one.
No.
This is crazy. And the only Mini I've driven is an 05, and that thing, I was driving around like, oh, this is fine. The owner took me on some back roads. Oh my god, I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And this is no different from that. Well, there's a little bit different. This thing has way more power. Do you know if you're making more than Christians, do you know?
I don't know what Christian's making.
I think like 200 something.
So yeah, I'd be making more. I'm right at 300.
I just love how he just holds on to the ground. It's like, how to describe it? It's like it's almost as crazy as a Porsche, which is saying something, because Porsche, it's a Porsche. And one thing I forgot to mention, this has a cool heads-up display, which I do like. Lets you know when you get in and other stuff. If you want more info on what a heads-up display is, same my review of my Acadia. I had to drive for a few days, and I go on more into what a heads-up display does. But this is really cool. Well,
I like it. I modified the coding on it so that way it displayed the tachometer when in sport mode. That's not a normal feature of S models. It's usually reserved for JCWs. But if you're handy with a computer and you can do a little bit of coding, you can unlock some features.
Yeah. You can also plug in this little thing, and you can get it to code. You can tell it. You can put in code yourself. Like if you want to chime Rolls Royce, because it's the same systems as Rolls-Royce and BMW and everything, you can do that.
It can. I actually changed the startup image on the screen on the iDrive system. It actually shows the M.
Oh my! Just because, hey, look, I have an M car, even though I'm driving a Mini. M stands for Mini, right? Not
Totally.
Motorsport. One thing I like about this car is you do not expect it power. You don't expect it to be fast at all. It literally slaps, it really is a sleeper. It is the most coolest sleeper you can have. In my opinion, don't you think?
Well, I love it because a lot of people look at it and they think, oh, it's a little girl's car, and then it flies by them on the track and they're like, wait a minute, what happened?
What is this thing?
That's one of my favorite things about doing the Mini Cooper, is that there is a group of people who love to modify into them, but there's not a whole lot of them in the States.
Yeah.
Most of the people who buy them in the States just buy them as a little economical vehicle that they start off being. But you can definitely turn this thing into a little hot rod.
Yeah. And one thing I like about this is it's low to the ground, but it doesn't sit like a sedan. It sits like an SUV, which I didn't know how they did that.
It's the wider wheelbase because it's closer to all four corners of the car. You get a more stable feeling.
Yeah.
And since we're also lower to the ground, that's what brings in that go-kart feeling.
Yeah. Something I love about this thing is people are like, oh, yeah, I want to be safe, I want to be up high. I think I know what they like being up high. When you're in an SUV, everything is more stable than a sedan. This gives you that feeling. So really, if you want a small car but you want to feel safe, get a Mini. This is a cool little car. And one thing is, a lot of people don't probably realize, is once you get inside this car, it feels a whole lot bigger than it is on the outside. It's such a tiny car when you get out, and then you get inside, I'm like, oh, I actually have space. I actually have room. Whereas my Corolla it's a little car, but it's a sedan. It looks big compared to this. Whereas you get inside it, it's as big as the inside as you think it would be. Whereas this is the most ironic car you can probably get. Ooh, probably as fast as I'm gonna get it. Oh, shows you how quick this car is. I'm not gonna say how fast I went. You probably saw for reasons, but I will say this now. This is probably the third fastest car I've ever driven, and not by speed, not by power, by just how fast how acceleration, how fast it is.
Definitely. Because
one thing people don't realize about this is it doesn't weigh as much as my sedan or your typical cars that are like this size. It's almost like a little sport car, you know what I mean? Definitely. That's actually has space, and you can fit your butt in, and you can have 4 people. Yeah, it's what a sport car you think would be, but it's not. That's what I love about this thing, and Minis in general. And one thing you must do if you own a Mini, and if you don't do this, because I will be driving a Mini one day, and I will catch you. If you do not wave at me, I will slap your face. I will find you and slap you, because that's just what you do. It's a Mini life. Whenever you see a Mini, you have to honk or wave. This is what you do. Every time. Every time. And if you don't, I'll slap you. I'll slap a bitch. I will slap you until you become slappy lap slap slap happy. I love the way all of the pops it has. Well, I know that's just a BMW thing, but
a lot of it comes from the little bit of excess fuel that they push in after on diesel and the turbo.
Yeah. And what I like about BES is you don't know when it's gonna happen. It's not like an exact moment you really get it. It's like it just happens.
I will say that I can make it happen pretty much whenever I want now.
Yeah.
Because I've learned where the sweet spot is.
Yeah.
But
when you're first driving
and you get into it and you get a few little pops, even with the stock exhaust, you can still hear little tiny pops. And it's like, wait a minute, what's that coming from?
Yeah. Has anyone owned these and be like, is something wrong with my car?
I'm pretty sure there's been a fair amount of people that have gone back to the dealership like, my car's popping, what's going on?
It's like, that's the BMW thing. And I love that. I love pops, the BMWs. They're such an amazing. And this makes this car even more a driver enthusiast. What's what I love about Minis is you don't think it's an enthusiast car or anything. You think it's just a grocery getter. It is the exact opposite of a grocery getter. Well, still is a little bit of a grocery getter, but it's the community, the history behind the car. It's just an amazing thing. Now, if you drive a little old 84 Mini before BMW bought them, they were slow. They were a grocery getter. That's what they were made to be. But once BMW bought them and the aftermarket got their hold of it, boom, it became a driver enthusiast car. That's what I love about Minis. Would I buy one? Hell yeah, I'll buy one. Maybe not 2018. I love all the features, but it's not necessarily necessary for someone like me. I like my Corolla, and that's my daily driver. I would probably get a two-door little Mini Cooper, like 05 Christians, mainly because I don't like too much technology. You know what I mean?
I would say that if you were to get your own Mini Cooper, I would go for a 2014 version.
Okay.
Because then you get the newer body style, newer motor. The R-Series motors with the old Chrysler supercharged motors tend to have a lot of problem with head gaskets.
Oh, that makes sense. Chrysler.
So you get one of the newer ones, you get one with a BMW motor inside of it. And this particular instance of a model it's max options. I have everything on there. It's got self-parking, parking sensors, backup camera, heads-up display. You can buy just a same model, this one, in a two-door with a lot less options, and it can come in manual. So
it's a great car. Now, if you don't mind me asking,
sure.
What did you pay for this car, if you don't mind?
About 32.
Nice. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. Well, look what you get. You get a really nice car. This is that lurch.
Well, that lurch comes from the tune that we put into the car. The throttle's a lot more aggressive than it would be stock, and in the stock format, it's pretty calm. It can still be peppy, but we.
I'm glad you fixed it, because one thing I just love about what you can do to a tune is you can really change the way a car drives completely.
Definitely.
And one thing I think will be cool to make is make a mini drift car. Just swap out the drivetrain, put a rear-wheel drivetrain in it.
If I was going to go try to make a mini drift car, I'd probably start off with a Mini Countryman, because they come in the all-four, so they're already four-wheel drive.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's easier to convert that to pure rear-wheel drive rather than converting one of these to rear-wheel drive. It is possible,
yeah,
but it requires a lot more effort.
Especially with that, what was it called? The Clubman, the wagon thing they made that one time?
They're actually still making it. They have the Countryman, which is slightly bigger than this one. Still a hatchback style vehicle, but just ever so slightly larger, heading towards that like small SUV class. And then there is the Clubman, which is a dual door rear vehicle. It is basically Mini Cooper's SUV.
Which
it's still small.
Yeah, but it's
like
a Mini
Coopers, but you get inside and you think you have space in here, you get inside one of them, you could throw a bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one thing that I've probably said this a bunch of times, is you don't realize about Minis is how big they are on the inside. They're one of the most ironic, I think that's why they called it the Mini, because it was so small on the outside, but so much room on the inside. And you're not a small dude, you're not a little dude, you're not ginormous, but you're pretty good size, and we're both sitting here like it's a big SUV.
Yep.
That's what I like about this thing. You don't have to have a big SUV just to fit. You can get one of these just fine. And it's like, I'm worried about reliability. Like I always say, get a freaking warranty. If you get a warranty, nothing will happen. Do you have a warranty?
I do.
Oh my God, you have a warranty. Look. He has a warranty. He's smart. He's smart. He ain't stupid. He didn't buy a Ford Focus without a warranty.
Biggest things with people in unreliable cars is if you always maintain your vehicle, treat it like the baby that it is, it will continue to run for you.
Yeah.
But if you don't take care of it, she's not going to take care of you.
Yeah. Same thing with my Corolla. My Corolla owner, bro. Fixed it. It runs fine. It's just stuff that, well, with cars, it's not when it's not if it's gonna break, it's when it's gonna break.
Yep.
And to me, as long as you have a warranty, you can get whatever car you want. You can get a Chrysler for all I care. And these cars are pretty reliable. They're not Toyota, but they are pretty reliable for what it is. Compared to the older gens, like the older ones with the Chrysler supercharging, and don't get me started on the Willis one, the Rover engines they were putting in those cars. I think, was it Rover?
Land Rover was the original creator of the Mini Cooper. After they decided to try to take on MotoGP and doing off-road racing for rally, is when they started kind of finding a little bit more problems with the motor, but they were still able to win for several years in a row because there was just nothing like it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so much less weight. Whereas you have cars like Mercedes and all that trying to make these big, beefy V8s, plopping them in these really big sport cars. Here's Mini coming with this thing. It's little. It's like, oh, it's just a 4-banger. It ain't gonna do much. Two things that make a car fast: power, the engine, and weight. Weight is a ginormous factor when it comes to a car. I drove a Cayman S. That car didn't really hardly anything, and it was mid-engine. And you think, oh, it's just rear-wheel drive. That car handles like better than a Ferrari, which is saying something. It goes to show it's not about what drivetrain, it's about how you make a car. And that's what really goes to factor, is how it's going to handle, is how you make it. It's like cutting off a Mustang. You don't do that. When Ford was cutting off all sedans, they're like, okay, we cannot cut the Mustang because that is our heritage. That's what makes us Ford. It's like you know what I mean? You just don't do that.
The biggest thing that killed a lot of the smaller cars, especially here in America, is that people wanted everything bigger and better. So they wanted bigger trucks, bigger SUVs, consume more and more and more, and now people are shifting.
I know they'll never do it, but I would just want to say, if they could, is put a 6-cylinder in this thing. just to see if they can.
Now, I do know that there are people who have modified their cars to put a 6-cylinder in here.
Wow.
The biggest problem with trying to fit a 6-cylinder in the traverse position is that there's not a lot of space in the front. So you would have to actually do some serious body modifications and turn it into a rear-wheel drive vehicle to try to put a massive 6-cylinder in here.
All right. I love the aggressiveness it has. And one thing I didn't notice until now is your sport mode says M2 on it. Just to even more emphasize, like, hey, we're BMW, deal with it. I love that. I really enjoy this car. I knew I would like it, but I was a little skeptical about the new one. I mean, it's such a good car, but I'm like, it's still gonna be a Mini, because I've driven an 05 and I love the 05. This, I can say with my full honest opinion, this is just as good as the old one. Maybe even better. And if you can't afford this one, get an older one. To me, there's not a completely terrible Mini. You know what I mean?
Sure, you can pick up a basic S model for a little less than 25. If you go for full options, obviously you're going to start adding big prices because it is BMW. They're not cheap.
Yeah, no, they're not. The only thing about the downside about this car is the gas. You have to put premium gas in it because it's a BMW engine.
It's actually not so much just because it's a BMW engine, it's because it's turbocharged. A turbocharged vehicle runs better on premium gas because when you try to force more air into the motor, what you end up trying to get is a condition called pre-detonation. The compression of the fuel and air will cause it to ignite by itself. So you use a higher grade gas to make it harder to detonate, which sounds counterintuitive, but it actually helps produce more power because you add more air. And you don't have that pre-detonation condition.
We're gonna do one lap around and then we're gonna do the honest review. My summary of this car is, I like it. It's a Mini. What's not to like about a Mini? You know what I mean? Well, there are a couple things, but you know, the good things about this car outweigh the bad. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I don't even want to know how loud this car is right now.
Pretty loud.
Yeah. It's a good thing nobody comes over here. Alright guys, one more pull. That will never get old. That pop will never get old. Well, maybe if you drove it. No. It would never get old. Never get old.
It never gets old.
It never gets old. I don't. If BMW put a button in there, I would to turn it off. I would instantly grab it and throw it out the window, because I would never use that button. Thank you to the owner. He is such a really cool guy for providing this amazing car. This is an incredible car.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
It's just such. Thank you, man.
You're welcome, sir.
Hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this beautiful mini review. I absolutely enjoyed it. I had an idea of using my British accent in the entire video, but my British accent sucks, and it's very intimidating. It sounds like I'm making fun of the accent, which is not what I'm trying to do. So to say, you know what, I'm just gonna be a normal American Jake, and if British people don't like my American accent, they can go back to England for all I care. So this honors review for this car, I absolutely enjoy it. It is such an incredible car, and it's well engineered. It's such an amazing car, and what I like best about this, it is so ironic. It is literally, if there was an Ironicmobile, this would be it. Is the exact opposite of what you think it is. And it's just such a cool concept. I'm planning on buying one day, and if you guys ever see me, feel free to honk. I'll wave at you, but only if you're a mini driver. If you're driving a Viper, sorry, I will not wave at you. I'm just kidding. I'll wave at any fan who waves at me. I absolutely love this car. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Shake. I have a little bit of a disability, and I do car reviews for fun because, you know what? Why not? And if you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button and turn on notification bells for all your latest updates. Alright guys, I'm going to cut it off right now, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye!